I've always thought I could spot an accurate pistol just by the price tag or the badge on the slide. Years in Texas ranges, thousands spent, listening to the same best-in-class pitch until one afternoon, a nobody gun made me eat my words in front of a full bay. I've watched plastic frames outshoot steel legends, and bargain triggers punch holes so tight the guy next to me just stared, shaking his head. Most shooters, they'll chase hype and talk specs, but accuracy has embarrassed us all sooner or later. That's what this list is about. Those stupid accurate pistols you never see coming. The ones that make you question every review you ever trusted. Stick around, because I promise, the one at the end of this list is the reason I stopped betting on the usual suspects. By the time I reached number 1, I was staring at a target in disbelief, wondering if I'd just watched a $300 pistol outshoot a safe full of $1,000 guns. That's not hype, that's a lesson the hard way. This one was never meant to be the hero. I bought the Canik TP9 SF Elite as a backup. Just a little insurance in case the main rig ever had issues, or I needed something to loan out. No hype, no expectations. Last weekday, at the range, I finished running drills with my usual piece, and almost as an afterthought, dug the Canik out of the bag. Figured I'd run a mag, maybe 2, just so it didn't collect dust. But the first group landed tighter than the gun it was supposed to back up. The trigger had that slick break. Sights settled easy, and before I knew it, I was loading another mag, and then another. It wasn't planned, but my main gun just sat in the bag the rest of the session. A couple of guys looked over, trying to figure out what I was shooting. One even asked if it was really just a Canik. I left that day with a grin and a quiet lesson. Sometimes the backup outshoots the star. The Canik TP9 SF Elite turned a just-in-case roll into a main event. And if you think that's wild, the next gun on this list pushed the surprise even further. People say it's accurate only if you're good. That's the lie. The Beretta APX A1 tightens groups for shooters who aren't supposed to shoot well yet. I learned that on a league night at a noisy little indoor range, where everybody's either flexing or fighting nerves. There was this one guy, shows up every week, nice enough, but always stuck at the bottom of the score table. His own pistol was out for repair, so he asked if he could borrow mine. Ammo was on him. I didn't think much of it. Figured he'd run the same scattered pattern as usual. But he loads up, takes a breath, and suddenly starts punching out a group so tight you could cover it with a bottle cap. Heads turn. Nobody can believe it. He finishes the round and just shrugs. Like he can't explain it either. I step up next and, honest to God, shoot my cleanest string of the month. That Beretta didn't care who was behind the sights. It just made the target shrink. By the end of the night, the guy's name was halfway up the board. And it taught me the hard way it's not about being good. Sometimes the right gun just cheats for you. New Year's Day, backyard packed, folks sipping coffee, swapping stories, a makeshift range set up past the grill. Someone's cousin, never fired a pistol in his life, starts eyeing the table. There's laughter. Everybody's expecting the classic rookie show. Flinch miss, empty mag, maybe a dented fence post. I hand him the Masada Slim. Figured it's light, simple, won't spook him. He grips it awkward, lines up, squeezes the first shot. Then another and another. The cans start jumping. 1, 2, 3. Tight as if a pro lined them up. First string, every hit dead center. Conversation drops out. Someone yells he got lucky, so we reset the targets and run it back. Same thing. The rookies shooting tighter than half the group, outclassing a couple of guys who've been coming to these bashes for years. By the third round, people are asking if the sights are rigged, if the gun's got a trick barrel. Even the old-timers are side-eyeing their own groups. That day, nobody left with the highest score but the new kid, with a bone stock Masada Slim. Next up, the pistol that made half the regulars want a rematch just to save face. I'll admit it, I've never been an HK fanboy. Folks swear by the VP9, but it's always seemed like expensive hype to me. So when someone challenged me to prove its legendary accuracy, I didn't even bring my own. I swung by the nearest pawn shop last October, picked up a VP9 that looked like it had survived 3 owners and a decade of glove box abuse. Scratch, slide, finish worn thin, sights a little crooked, perfect for settling bets without risking my pride. Honestly, I was already drafting excuses. First magazine, though. Every shot stitched the center, grouped so tight it looked printed. I figured it was a fluke. Swapped mags, new ammo, same thing. At 25 yards, the beater outshot everything else on the bench. My usual fallback lines. HKs just for fanboys, pawn shop specials are a gamble, turned to dust in my mouth. A couple of guys watched me quietly, then one asked to try it. He shot just as well, maybe better. I wanted to laugh it off, but I couldn't. That pawn shop VP9 embarrassed every bias I brought to the range. Didn't matter how much I wanted to hate it. Sometimes stupid accurate just means no more excuses. If you think that's hard to swallow, wait till you see the kind of fights the next pistol started. Jeet and I go way back. Guy's probably burned more powder than anyone I know. Always prided himself on calling his shots. Tight groups, the whole bit. We're out at the range one afternoon, and I slide the Hellcat Pro across the bench. Say nothing. Just let him run it cold. He loads up. Fires the first mag, then squints at the target, not saying a word. He checks again, almost irritated, like the paper's playing tricks. Runs another mag. Same story. Doesn't smile, doesn't say nice, just keeps looking at the cluster like it owes him an explanation. I can tell his confidence isn't just dented, it's fighting back. That's the kind of accuracy the Hellcat Pro dishes out. Not hype, not celebration, just discomfort for even the most confident shooter. When a gun's results make a friend double-check himself, you know it's stupid accurate, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. M&P9 2.0. Compact never fights for attention. I picked it up at the end of a long week. Brain half fried and hands already tired from other guns. No crowd, no timer, just routine. Load, shoot, reload, tape. Somewhere in the middle, I caught myself thinking about groceries, bills, a call I had to make. The pistol just kept cycling, steady, boring, no surprises. Targets got taped, brass collected, and I nearly packed up without even glancing downrange. When I finally bothered to look, the groups were all there. Tight, clean, just stacked. Not a single shot felt special when I pulled the trigger. No moment of wow. No adrenaline. No memory of trying to squeeze out a perfect shot. I realized I'd run 2 boxes through and hadn't thought about accuracy once. Most pistols reward focus. This one does its best work when you're running on autopilot. It quietly forgives sloppy grip, loose stance, a wandering mind. All the days when I barely felt present, it kept my standards high anyway. Walking back to the car, I wondered if maybe it was the only gun in the bag that didn't need me to pay attention at all. Some days, nothing goes to plan. I grabbed the CZ P10C halfway through a training block that was already falling apart. Targets blowing in the wind, sweat in my eyes, mag changes slipping out of rhythm. I botched a reload, lost the dot in the sun, cursed under my breath. Didn't stop, just started hammering through the string. Hands fighting the gun, stance breaking down, shoes digging into gravel. I could feel the groups unraveling before I even looked. But when the line went cold and I finally walked forward, my irritation hit a wall. Every shot sat in a cluster, dead center. It wasn't luck. I'd been fighting my gear, fighting the weather, fighting myself. But the P10C just refused to fall apart. No satisfaction, no pride, just that weird frustration when the result is way better than the effort. There's no glory in a session like that. You don't walk away pumped. You just shake your head and quietly respect a pistol that holds your work together, even when you can't. Next up, I reached for something built for precision, hoping the weather and my luck would finally even out. Early on a Sunday in late September, the range was empty, except for my instructor and me. Crisp air, blue sky, and the smell of burnt powder hanging low. We were cleaning up brass, swapping stories, just killing time. His Q5 Match SF rested on the bench. Usual spot, the grip worn smooth from years of drills. He always claimed it was the only pistol he truly trusted to print cloverleafs at any distance. Never let anyone else touch it unless he was watching. That afternoon, he stepped away to help a rookie in the next bay, and curiosity finally got to me. I picked up the Q5, racked a mag, and took it to the far line. Not just 25, but way out. Past where I'd ever bothered with a pistol before, I tried to rush shots, double tap, get sloppy, push the speed, no careful trigger, no breath control. Still, every hole landed inside the bull. The gun didn't care how much I fought it, it just kept delivering. He came back, glanced at the target, and paused. Didn't say a word, just looked at me, then at the Q5, then nodded. No speech, no lesson, just mutual understanding. Some pistols hide their talent. This one doesn't let you forget it, even when you try. Late last year, I met up at the range with an old friend from the department. He's one of those guys who's seen every kind of service pistol, run more qualifications than he can count. We got to talking about rookie days, how most new cops grip too tight, push their shots, and walk off the line second-guessing themselves. It's just part of the game. Halfway through, I slid the Taurus GX4 XL across the bench, told him to see what it could do. He loaded up, no warm-up, just ran a couple magazines the way he would on a qualification line. When we walked down to check the target, his group was tight. So tight it looked like he'd been practicing for weeks. He just shook his head and said, "Man, if this had been my first pistol, I'd have thought shooting tight groups was just normal." It stuck with me, how the right pistol can erase years of doubt just by landing every shot where you want. And if a compact carry can do that, the next gun on this list will show you what happens when the pursuit of accuracy becomes an obsession. There's a place outside the city, tucked behind old farmland, where serious shooters set up for the kind of distance work you don't try at a public range. Last fall, I booked a lane at this premium spot. Not to prove anything, just to break the routine. Targets out at 50 yards, wind calm, sunlight creeping through the berms. I had the Ruger RXM in my bag, mostly as a carry backup, never even considered it a contender for long shots. Bored with my usual drills, I loaded up and sent a mag downrange, more for curiosity than expectation. At that distance, most pistols print flyers. Shots scatter off center, and you shrug it off as physics. But when I checked the steel, every hit rang center, clustered tighter than some of my rifles had managed. I reloaded, tried again, same result. No adjustment, no careful grip, just simple, repeatable hits that didn't make sense for a compact. There was no crowd, no applause, just me standing there unsettled. That kind of consistency at distance isn't supposed to happen, not with a pistol built for carry. I packed up, quietly bothered by how easy the RXM made it feel. Last year, my town held the 2.0 shooting competition, a serious event for Texas, with locals and out-of-towners crowding the line. I showed up with my usual gear, but tossed the CZ Shadow 2 compact in the bag, just to see how it would handle under real pressure. Wasn't my main pick. Never practiced a full stage with it. Figured it'd be fun at best. Stages were brutal. Fast transitions, tight steel, every shot under the clock. Heart pounding, hands slick, not a lot of room for mistakes. First run, I almost fumbled a reload, half expecting the wheels to come off. But shot after shot, the Shadow 2 compact just put rounds where they needed to be. Strings landed near perfect, barely dropped any points, and the pistol kept settling back on target, like it wanted to do the work for me. Midway through, I caught a judge watching my group, just nodding. Other shooters started glancing over, wondering what I was running. By the end, I realized the gun had erased half my mistakes, kept my scores high, nerves and all. I left that day with a fresh respect for the Shadow 2 compact. Sometimes a pistol makes you feel like you belong on the winner's board, even when your head's not in it. Early December, tiny frost still biting the steel tables, and my hands barely worked the zipper on my range bag. The place was dead quiet, breath hanging in the air, gloves forgotten in the truck. First time picking up the SAR9 Gen 3, no dry fire, no test run, just loaded up and went straight to the line. Every movement felt stiff, trigger finger numb, and I figured the opening group would be all over the place. Sights settled. I squeezed off the first shots. Didn't bother slowing down, figured I'd need a few tries just to get warmed up. When the string was done, I walked down and stopped cold. That first cluster was tight, dead center, better than anything I'd managed later, even after the blood started moving and muscle memory kicked in. The more I tried to chase it with follow-ups, the more I realized nothing matched that first round on a frozen morning. Some pistols demand a warm-up. This one just shows up and delivers, even before your hands catch up. Makes you rethink what first shot accuracy is supposed to mean. And if you think that's impressive, the number one gun on this list doesn't just show up cold. It never misses a beat, no matter the day or the shooter. It wasn't a range day that sold me on the Glock 48 MOS. It was just a routine Thursday. Bank run, pharmacy stop, quick trip to the grocery store on the way home, crowded parking lot, one of those afternoons where a couple of guys lingered by the entrance a little too long. I caught myself checking my waistband, just making sure the 48 MOS was there. Never had to reach for it, but the confidence was automatic. That's when it hit me. How many times had I drawn it at home, dry fired, snapped into the mirror, always finding the front sight right where it needed to be? Every practice string landed where I wanted, even when the room was half lit or my head wasn't in it. It never crossed my mind to wonder if the gun would hit where I aimed. The trust wasn't built on one big test or a cold morning miracle, but in 100 unremarkable days, when accuracy was the least of my worries. For me, the Glock 48 MOS proved itself by never giving me a single doubt, even when life outside the range gave me plenty of reasons to second-guess everything else. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that the market's legends aren't always the ones stacking holes at 25 yards. I've laughed off oddball pistols, only to watch a rookie shoot circles around my pride and joy. Some of these picks I've ignored, some I've sold and kicked myself for ever since. The truth is, accuracy hides in strange places, behind ugly triggers, offbeat brands, and guns nobody brags about. I read every comment, and I know half of you have stories about trash guns that turned out to be ringers. Drop them below, because the best lessons always come from the guns nobody trusts until they see the targets. I'm Steve, and I'm still hunting for the next surprise. Stay sharp. Something tells me the next underdog is already waiting to prove us all wrong.